Welcome to my hometown. Now, folks, this episode here is not all about horsepower and hot rods, but it's about this guy right here, Sherman. Now, I know that all the history buffs get upset when we call him Sherman because it's not really a statue of Sherman, but it's just an unknown soldier. But I'm not going to call him an unknown soldier, but most of us that grew up here have always called him Sherman, and if you don't like that, then you can call him Bill, Ted, or George, or whatever you want to. But for me, he's Sherman, and he always will be Sherman. Now, I'm not much of a historian or history buff, but I know that there's a lot of interesting history surrounding this monument, and I'm sure you can look that up online or go over to the LaGrange Historical Society. It's over in the old high school for anybody that's interested in finding out more about this. It's a very interesting story about the names that are on it and where the guys are from, so feel free to check it out. Now, Sherman first came to LaGrange in 1903, and he's been watching over our quiet, peaceful little town ever since. However, tragedy struck on June 28, 2022, when a truck driver fell asleep at the wheel and ran over and demolished our beloved Sherman. People were just in disbelief. I'm telling you, it was a sad day for our little town. After sifting through all the carnage and all the broken pieces, they determined that there was just too much damage and that repairing the monument was simply not an option. But the township officials were not willing to just let it go. Sherman was just too big a part of this community to just give up. So they rolled up their sleeves and they went to work trying to find a monument company with a master carver that would carve another Sherman. And brother, not only did they find a company to do it, but they actually got the granite from the same quarry that the original monument came from. Wow. Small town USA. Hyman, Kellogg, and Johnson. Yep, so this is the south side. So it goes just like it's setting. Aaron, tell us a little bit about your machine here.
It's a pretty universal machine. This is a 60-ton Grove GMK, derated to 50. It is, like I said, it's very universal. You know, it's got a small footprint, but we can get up there to almost 200 feet with all the jib. With the only drawback to the machine probably is it's about a 60,000 pound machine, so it's pretty heavy.
Yep.
But we've got, you know, we can lock in all the axles to all-wheel drive, so you can go on-road, off-road with it. Down the highway, if you get going down a hill, you can get it up to about 55 miles an hour. And like I said, it's got a lot of good off-road capabilities. You can lock all these axles in. It's got a bunch of different steering modes. It's a perfect machine for this job here.
Now, how much main boom do you have on this one?
So I've got 140 foot of main boom, and I've got a 50 foot swing away jib that I can add to that. So
wow. So
about 190 foot of stick.
Yep. So putting this up so far, what's the heaviest piece that you've picked?
So far the heaviest piece was the base. It was around 14,000 pounds, and this machine was totally capable of handling that.
Now, folks, I got to tell you, I personally feel so blessed to have grown up in a community like this. It's like a real life Mayberry. Being raised in an atmosphere like this is simply amazing. You know everyone, you know their parents, you know their grandparents, you know their children, you know their grandchildren, and they all know you. It gives you an amazing sense of comfort and a sense of belonging that's unreal. The people in the community are not just your friends, they're like extended family. And they are always there for you through thick and thin. All right, here we are with Zach from Cleveland Stone and Mike from Cleveland Marble. Zach, tell us a little bit about this monument. It was your company that built this, correct?
Yes, sir. This is fabricated locally here, right in Vermillion, Ohio. All this stone was brought in from Vermont, and we cut it, slabbed it into big chunks, and continued to fabricate it. We had a master carver that works for us, Nick Fairplay, and he has his own business inside of mine, and he carved the statue itself, which is forthcoming here, getting ready to be delivered.
That's an art in itself.
Yes, sir.
Now this stuff is, if I understand, about 175 pounds per cubic feet.
It's right there, yes.
Per cubic foot.
Yep.
So this base was,
I do believe that was upwards of, was that 14,000? It was.
We were at 15 something.
Yeah, that piece there is large. It is so large, in fact, that I had trouble finding a quarry block large enough to get that here. That had to be transported to 2 different facilities to get the block cut down before it could be brought from Vermont to Vermillion to be cut again.
wow. Now Mike, you're the youngster that's in charge of putting this whole thing up. How long you been doing this?
Well, I started with the Cleveland Marble Mosaic Company in 1975.
Yeah.
I was young. I was just 16 years old at the time, but I've been with them basically all this time, and there were some years on and off that I didn't work continuously with them, but this last stretch has been about 35 years.
Wow. And setting these monuments, that's different. I mean, you're working with crane operators, but this is different than picking trusses or air conditioner units. I mean, there's an art to this.
Exactly. It's different simply in the way that you only have one piece of each one. You make a mistake or something goes wrong with a piece and you're building a structure, you can go to the crate and get another one and have it refabbed, whereas monuments and statues and so forth are one-off pieces.
Yeah, you're not going to run down to Lowe's or Home Depot and get another one.
No, you cannot do that. That's correct.
So how do you think in 1903 when they put this thing up, I mean, you guys with this equipment, it's still quite a task doing it, but back in the day, how in the world would they get pieces up there like that?
If you look at at archives for other situations, like let's say you go to Washington D.C. and see some of the statues that are there, or anywhere, New York City, you'll see similar. Things haven't changed much. We still use block and tackle. They use block and tackle the same way. Where we have a crane, there might have been a structure above, some scaffolding, of course. And then before electricity, or at that time, I don't know, around 1900, but you'd use a block and tackle and you have horses pull.
Wow.
In some regards.
Well, guys, this is looking great. This is looking great. And Sherman, which we call it Sherman, the people that's been here forever, I realize a lot of people say that it's not Sherman, that it's just a generic infantry soldier, but to us it's Sherman because, well, the way he faces it says Sherman underneath. So
we went to great lengths to make sure that your Sherman looks exactly like he did.
Yep.
Previous to that.
Yep. And he should be rolling in on a truck in just a little bit.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, thanks for your It's funny. I can remember as a kid growing up, my mother and my sister still this same way. When someone would say, "Did you hear that so-and-so's dad passed away, or grandma passed away, or grandpa passed away?" The first thing that they would do is say, "Oh Lord," they'd head to the kitchen and say, "I'll go make a casserole." People, I'm telling you, if you live in LaGrange and tragedy strikes your family, you're going to get a casserole. I guarantee it. Tuna casserole, chicken casserole, green bean casserole, Mexican casserole. I don't know what kind of casserole, but I guarantee you're going to get a casserole. Maybe that's why there's so many of us fat people that live here in LaGrange. Well, he's finally here. He's finally back. People, I'm telling you, I'm not just whistling Dixie here. If a storm would blow through and knock the power out in the middle of the night, and I needed a generator or sump pump or something, I could call Jason down at the hardware, and he would go down and open up for me and whatever I needed. Now try that at Lowe's or Home Depot and see how that works out for you. Give me that thumbs up again. You know, I can remember many times, sometimes late at night, the buses carrying the Keystone sports teams coming back from games or tournaments, whether it be football, baseball, basketball, or the girls softball. They'd always come back and they'd drive round and around the circle, tooting the horns, and the community just standing on the square cheering them on, cheering and screaming, and it was a great thing. Old Sherman, he just standing up there taking it all in. So, you see, it's more than just an old Civil War monument. Sherman is a part of our heritage. And we all are so thankful to have him back, proudly standing on the square, keeping watch over our little town again. God bless. Thanks for watching.